Nothing like breaking a strap on your trail camera when you're putting it up. We'll talk about how old these things are as we get into this video. Well, it's a nice 97-degree day today here in Missouri on August 4th. I'm standing in a nice shady spot here, no breeze, so it's still kind of warm, but it seemed like a good day today to get some trail cameras out. Now, I know a lot of guys start to put their trail cameras out earlier in the year, May, June, whenever those velvet antlers start to come out. I used to do that. I don't really care about seeing the same does. Does are going to look the same in May and June as they do in November and December. I don't really care about seeing velvet antlers coming out first growth, but I do like to kind of get my cameras out at the beginning of August, sometimes the end of July, to start to see an inventory of what sort of bucks are out there. That's what I'm trying to do today. I've had some friends sending me pictures of some nice bucks they've had on camera. Got me in the mood to get my cameras back out. So I wanted to talk to you guys about what cameras that I use. In the past, I've used everything from Moultrie cameras way back whenever they had a white flash and the camera was about, that big, to I used a lot of Primos cameras back in the day as well, and they were still pretty large as well. When I finally switched to a more modern camera and one that's more compact, I went with the Browning Strikeforce. And I have owned about 5 or 6 Browning Strikeforce cameras since I think 2017 was when I started using them. And I'll tell you guys what, I've still got a Browning Strikeforce camera I'm going to put out today that I bought in 2017. Now, every year that I've gotten these, I've gotten them on sale at Bass Pro, typically for about $100. I think that normal price, they're going to run you about $130, $140, maybe even $150. And the newer ones maybe in that same price range. But I feel like that's a pretty fair price point. I've always felt that way. It's like anything else. You get what you pay for. If you go with the cheaper 2-pack of the Wild Game Innovations, or even something like a Simmons or some off-brand that maybe is known more for their optics and rifle scopes, you're probably going to get what you pay for. And in my experience, that's what I've gotten. I do have one camera that's an off-brand one that is a brand as Togard. I think that's how you say it. And I got on Amazon. I watched a review from the YouTube channel Man Over Beast, and he did one where he compared the cheapest trail cameras on Amazon, and that was one of them that he had that actually worked really well. I've used that one too. Again, it's not top quality, but it's a really great option if you only want to spend $40 to $50 on a trail camera. Get it on Amazon, and I've been running it for 2 or 3 years now, and it does fine for what I need it for. If you can find the right place for a cheap camera like that, maybe something that's close up, that the deer are going to be coming in close to, it can be a good option rather than spending a bunch of money on a really nice camera. About the Browning Strikeforce cameras, I've really loved these because they have really great quality pictures in my opinion. Especially the daytime pictures are really great quality. You can see the detail in the shots. I'll throw some photos up here of some of the best ones that I think I've gotten over the years in the daytime. They do really, really great night pictures as well. Obviously, if the deer or whatever you're trying to get photos of is standing still, it's going to do a better job. But even some that are moving, you can get a really good idea of what deer you have out there, what bucks you have in your area. I don't necessarily need to have a high pixel level of detail. I just want to be able to know what's the ballpark of this buck as far as how many inches is he going to score, how many points does he have, that sort of thing, just in the ballpark. I'm not trying to overanalyze and say, well, he needs to be 5.5 years old and he needs to be 165 inches or bigger for me to shoot. I just want to have an idea of what's out there. It doesn't take a lot of convincing to get me to sling an arrow at one or shoot a rifle at one either. So I'm not too picky. That said, the Browning Strikeforce series does great as far as trigger speed. The shutter speed is good. Like I said, the photo quality is really great. And they really do great video too, and the video has sound. Now, I'm possibly in the minority here. I don't like the idea of cell cameras. I don't want to get pinged on my phone every time my camera takes a picture or have to change some settings, so that's not happening. I live 45 minutes away from where I hunt, so it's not going to do me a whole lot of good to get a picture on my phone and then try to hustle out to go hunting wherever I may get a picture of a buck I want to shoot. I just don't think that it's common that people are getting a picture on their cell camera, then getting all their hunting gear on and hustling out to their stand, getting there in time to either call that buck back in or get to a stand that he's headed to in order to intercept him. And I just don't think that's happening very often. That said, I'm not interested in paying for a data plan for a cell camera to get a picture of a deer. But call me crazy. I guess you could say I'm just not as serious about it as some people are, but I'm pretty serious about hunting. I love doing it. So I am still using your standard SD card trail cameras. Now, if I ever do have to buy a cell camera, I believe that the cell cameras also will take SD cards, so I probably just won't buy a data plan for it, and I don't need one. So what I did last year was I got an idea that I'd like to start running video on these cameras as opposed to photo. Now, the downside to running video is I use a little card reader, and I'll throw it in the description so you guys can see it and maybe purchase one for yourselves. And it plugs into my smartphone, and I use an iPhone. Plugs into there. I can put my SD card in it, flip through the photos on my phone as opposed to sitting down at a computer and plugging it in. When I'm running video, it's a lot easier and the processing speed is a lot faster if I just plug them into a laptop. So that's the only downside, is my phone's not really processing fast enough to watch a lot of videos, but it's really cool to be able to watch the video. You get to see all the detail then, as opposed to if instead of having a blurry photo where a deer is walking through, you've got that level of detail all the way through the shot of them walking through. And I was able to get a lot of really cool videos that I actually shared with you all on the channel last year season. And so I've started doing that and enjoying that. So what I was able to do to make that happen, if you use a card that has a small storage size on it, you're not going to be able to store that many videos. And also running your camera on video is going to really drain your batteries a lot faster. So you'll have to change your batteries in these cameras at least once, maybe twice throughout the deer season or from the time you run them. So on August 1st, I imagine I'll have to change my batteries in these 2-3 times maybe during the season, probably not more than twice actually. And that's really not that bad. You can buy some cheap batteries, and then you're not running expensive Duracell or Energizers in your camera just to get photos and video of your deer. So the other thing I did was I went on Amazon and I was able to find a 5 or 6 pack of a 32 gigabyte SD card. I'll throw those in the description too for you guys if you want to buy some too. And those store way more video than I'm going to be able to take. I usually try to check the cameras every time that I go hunting. That can be every weekend, or it can be every other weekend, or it can be every couple of weeks. I'm not really sure. It just depends on what I have going on during the season. But then you've got that storage. You're not going to run out of storage space unless, something crazy happens and you get a lot of deer running by, or just a lot of, wind pictures or something. But great option there as far as being able to run it on video. Then you don't have to worry about any blurry photos because you're getting all that detail throughout the whole shot. So I would encourage you guys, check out Browning Strike Force. Like I said, these are several years old. I think the last one that I bought was in 2021, maybe 2022. So I haven't bought a Browning Strike Force in a couple years, but I doubt the quality's gone down any. If I've ever had to contact their customer service, they've been very helpful to help me figure things out and maybe troubleshoot some items or some things. But I haven't really had any issues with them. They're super easy to use. I'll show you guys some of the just details on how I reset the card. The menus are very clear, very easy to use. The buttons are pretty obvious what you're supposed to do with them. And they're just really great all around cameras for the average hunter like you and me. If you don't want to be spending a lot of money on really nice brand cameras. Not to dog on those. There's some really great options out there if you want to spend $200, $300, $500 on cameras or the ones that run on solar panels, that sort of thing. You can spend that. I'm just not interested in spending it, and I would guess that there's a lot of people like me who just want a basic trail camera, but one that's not cheap, but one that does a good job. Browning Strike Force, really great option. Thank you for watching Farming for Whitetails. We'll see you next time. My daughter called this a purple cup the other day, but it used to be camo, but maybe that's the new thing, purple camo. Let's see, maybe that'll work, guys. I don't know.